Hello everyone, welcome to Gaian Gardens. My name is Izabela, and today I'm going to share with you how I made a pot for my burning bush pre-bonsai tree. So let's get started. I had this burning bush that looked absolutely red, fully red in the fall. So I thought the pot for the burning bush in the green color would be quite fitting. And here's the tree at the beginning when I got it back in 2021. It was quite twiggy and very long looking. So with few prunings over the last 2 years, I brought the canopy down and got it to be more spread out. I used a little bit of wiring and clip and grow technique. From the initial drawings, I chose the most masculine or yang style, which is straight walls and horizontal, very horizontal and masculine looking pot. To build it, I have rolled some clay slabs, and from the slab, I've pre-cut a bottom using a template just from the piece of paper that I had. It was a little bit more sturdy paper. And once I had that, I moved it into a plaster bag, ribbed it for clean surface, and then cut out the size that I wanted for the bottom of the pot. So it's a rectangular bottom. And then we're putting another plaster bag on top that absorbs the moisture and lets the clay dry evenly and get to the leather hard stage. Next, another slab for my sides. So I'm doing the same thing, plaster bats, and I'm actually using the bottom template to cut out my walls because they are literally the same. So I need 2 long sides and 2 short sides, and at that point I can decide what height my pot is going to be. And I decided to go for a deeper pot, which I'm going to explain later at the end of the video why I chose this particular style. It is like imperial, Chinese imperial palace style of the pot. So here's the view of all the sides. We got 4 sides and we got the bottom. And now we are beveling the edges, and the reason for this is so that they can connect together seamlessly, and then with score and slip it's going to be a nice 90-degree angle. So you bevel at 45 degrees and then check how they connect. You can see pretty nice snug fit. So I have all my sides, I have my tea. Now it's time for slip and score. A joyous winter activity. I did make this pot, I have to mention, back in the winter time, so it's been a few months since I've made it. So I'm taking my time and really enjoying this this action of scoring. The scoring allows the crevices of the clay to open so that the slip can enter into them, and then once the slip dries, it binds it together like a glue. If we have a smooth surface, then it's more difficult for the slip to bind it, because, or actually it will bind it, but it's more prone to just disconnecting from the surface. So it would just like break in that part. Versus here, we're ensuring that it's not going to crack and break. Now I'm applying the slip. For this project, I use gray clay, and therefore I'm using gray slip. To make your slip, you just use dried up pieces of clay and add enough water, and then you can use a hand blender to make it. I show how to make slip in my Scraffito video. You're welcome to check that out. After slipping, time to assemble the pot. It seems pretty good. I tend to create a lot of feminine style pots with outed lips and some fancy feet. So this was a new experience for me and quite enjoyable. After cutting off that extra bit, now I am rolling the coil to reinforce the joints inside the pot. That way we are ensuring that there is going to be less cracking, and also we are making those joints more stable by adding this extra clay support. Another reason why we do it, especially with bonsai pot, is because the 90 degrees angles are a little bit more difficult once the tree is rooted in the pot. It's more difficult to remove it. But when we have that extra layer of clay, there is this roundness to it, so the tree can slip out of the pot easily for repots. Now we're turning it upside down so that we can work on the feet. The pot holds its shape very well. I don't need to clean it first, so I'm using a variety of ribs to clean the surface to make sure that the bottom part and the wall part blend in together seamlessly. This is a very simple design because I will be adding the Scraffito decoration, and that will complicate things, so we don't want to complicate the shape. Now I'm adding the drainage holes for the bonsai pot. So here I'm going to have 5 holes. It's quite a large pot, and I'm using one of the cookie cutters from my cookie cutter set that I've had for many years. I'm going to round up those edges using this golf ball. It's a tip I've learned from Source, from Bonsai Nut. Thanks, Source. Now it's time for the feet. The feet are going to be very rudimentary, I would even say, very simple, like probably the simplest feet I've ever done. So yeah, I think it looks fantastic that way, very simple and masculine. My tree is very feminine in nature. It has lots of curves. It leans to the side, and the branches are also styled in that curvy way. So to complement it, it's nice to pick that design. But before I decorate it, I do need to learn how to write the Chinese characters for the pot. So I've studied those characters using ink and brush and meditative Tai Chi calligraphy that I took a course and learned a little, but at this point it was very new to me. So my focus is on the brush and on the ink and the order stroke. I needed to learn the order stroke before I attempted writing it on the actual pot. Now I'm confident, almost, that I can do this. So I'm preparing the pot by first applying a layer of white slip. That layer will be kind of like priming the canvas. It will allow the color of my slip to really stand out and be visible and bright in color. If you'd like to learn more, again, I share this whole process in the Scraffito video, which I'll link in the description. The next step is to make my stain. I have this green stain. I'm going to mix it with water first to dissolve all the granules and all the clumps. That way I will have a nice smooth texture. I want the texture to be seamless and smooth so that when I'm carving, I'm not going to have accidental bumps. Then mix it with the slip. I'm using white porcelain cone 6 slip, and now I can apply it on the pot. Oh, that green. It was an amazing experience to do that in the middle of the winter. It felt quite meditative. Perhaps I time travel and space traveled, making this pot a little bit. I'm adding another layer and then waiting for it to dry. And then the third layer goes on. It's altogether 3 layers of that colored slip. Now is the time to write those characters. I only get one chance. So I'm trying to visualize the size of each character. They should be the same size, regardless of how many radicals are in them. So for a newbie like me, that's a mind bend for sure. You only get one chance at this. So the way that it shows up is the correct way, and there is nothing to judge here, nothing to criticize. It's just what is. The style and the writing shows the inner energy of the calligrapher at that time. Now I'm making another writing the same saying on the other side so that the pot can be viewed from both ends. This is how my pot looks like. Really nice. And the upside down, you see the addition of supports in the middle. Let's take a spin. Wow, that was quite the experience. Let's see my reaction from back then. So here's my final view of the pot before it goes to drying. And this sample. After it dried, I loaded my kiln for bisque firing. The pot went on the bottom. And then the next one was glaze firing. I did not glaze this pot, so it was pretty easy. I just placed it back. It did have to be fired. And now you can see the difference between the glaze and the unglaze just before I closed it and then when I opened. Wow, what a transformation of those dishes. I just think it's so fascinating when that chemistry happens. Now let's see what I said when I took it out. Oh, that's a nice color, the green. I'm quite happy with it, the burning bush. Yeah, it's nice. It's like, it's not too strong. Now I can also like sand this a little bit. Very nice. Here's my burning bush somewhere. When the spring came and I was able to take out the burning bush out of the pot, I was so excited to plant it. It had beautiful root mass. It was full of roots in this growing basket. So I had to trim it a little bit to fit it into a pot. It's still amazing root mass. And that's how it looked like when it was first potted and it got its first drink. I enjoy how the colors go together with the trunk and the leaves. The gray clay actually turns out to be more like brownish burnt umber color. So here it is. I really enjoyed this process of designing, planning, learning the Chinese characters, and making this pot using the Scraffito method. So I had a great summer with the burning bush. It's right here behind me. Right now it's 21st of August, so it's almost the end of August, and the tree is starting to develop some nice red hues around the leaves. I think in a few more weeks it's going to be beautiful, vibrant red that I was showing in the video from the previous year. And it's going to look fantastic with that green. As you can see, that green turned out to be quite nice and muted. It's not as super bright as when it was with the original slip. So that's one thing that happens with the firing, and when we don't glaze it, is that the color is more matte and muted, which I really enjoy. I should share also why I chose to do this. This particular design of the pot it was inspired by the YanXi Palace series. It's a Chinese television series showing the life of the concubines in the palace. And one of the palaces that the queen resided in, the empress resided in, had a especially beautiful design, in my opinion. So I studied the forms and shapes of the room, the decorations that were used, the style of clothing, and of course the bonsai trees that the queen had in her chambers. So the bonsai trees, they were not super exposed and visible, but you could see them in the background. And this Chinese style of pot, like a imperial palace pot, is a little bit deeper, so it's like it goes like this, which is actually perfect when you're doing pre-bonsai, because in pre-bonsai we are still growing the trunk. We want the trunk to get big, and if we want the trunk to get bigger, we need to have a bigger pot. It's not going to happen in this shallow little pot. Oh my goodness, there's a bunny right like few meters from me. I gotta show you guys. This is hilarious. Now you're shy, no longer eating your clover and grass. It's all right. You'll be famous on YouTube. The bunny is still. Oh no, now he's eating. When I turn off the camera, he's just like, okay, back to dinner. I'm done with that performance. So what I was saying is that this style of pot is actually perfect for the pre-bonsai, which is what I'm doing. This tree is only probably at the most 4 years old. I got it 2 years ago, and it was probably a 2-year-old seedling, I would say. Maybe more, hard to tell. It was from the nursery stock. So we want as much root mass so that we can allow the branches to extend, and then it in turn make the trunk thicker. And if I would choose a classic bonsai pot, which is about an inch, maybe an inch and a half, then I don't have that much root mass. That tree is no longer growing so much. So I thought I can just, have two things in one: have a pretty bonsai pot in the imperial style, and also allow my burning bush to still continue growing in that pot. So that's why I chose this particular design. Another thing that I would like to also share with you is, you're probably wondering at this point, unless you're Chinese or no Chinese, what does that mean? So let me tell you what it means. It means root yourself in the present. So I'm guessing now it makes a little bit more sense too, seeing my video, how I was being present in the moment with each part of the process. Learning Chinese calligraphy also allows for learning that skill really, really deeply, because it is a meditative practice. So I wanted this to be a reminder for myself, to be rooted in the present, just like the trees are rooted in reality, and they are fully present in each moment, without judgment, without interfering thoughts and distractions. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in comments below if you have any questions or comments. And thank you so much for watching. Hey, Bonnie. We're still hanging out? Oh, yeah, kind of. Oh, yeah, fully hanging out, chilling together.